Name's Roger Boaty. Mr. George Roger Boaty.
Good evening, darlings, and forgive me being a bit flustered. I am all behind like a cow's tail. The restaurant was What's that? Oh, it's you. Oh, be quiet, you silly man. What's the matter with you? Yeah, the restaurant was a bit busier than expected today, and I was a bit like, cheers, darlings, your very good health. Oh, that's it in the spot. Yeah, so I'm a bit late getting in and setting up and sorting everything out and all of that sort of thing, but a very warm welcome to you all. A warm welcome to Thursday Night Live, where I, as usual, am coming live in your eyes and ears, direct from Windy Bottom here in the Peak District. A Windy Bottom where something has changed. Who can tell what it is? Who's going to be the first? Right, let's see who I've got. Matt, the lovely Matt, the amazing, wonderful, chiseled like a Greek god, bearded, handsome, heightened presence that is _. Jimmy Quinn, the charming, lovely gentleman who eats like a king. Steve Colg, who is never less than a joy. Joe is here, JCO2 Wax, a lovely young man who, and he says, good evening everyone, hope you're all well and had a wonderful and productive day. Psychonaut 7 is in our midst, the man who we've all been thanking a heck of a lot lately because he has done wonderful things. And many of you good people have channel memberships thanks to his incredible generosity. Lovely to have you with us again. Pure Evil is here, Mickey Jeffries. Oh, Liz is on time. Jabberwocky 220 GTI. Blimey and says hello everyone. Simone of Hooked on Classics. Many community channels here, guys. Don't forget to chase down all of those community channels and subscribe to them. Bad Books is here. Trace is here, the Greenwood. I am well, thank you, Matt. Jimmy Quinn, yes, I was 1 minute late. Shoot me at dawn, and bloody hell, I had to drive like the clappers to get here anywhere near on time. Trisha Alderman is here, that's fabulous. Get that wine poured. Two right, matey. Oh, and the other Liz is here as well. It's the same, Liz. Different YouTube account. Typhoon Cat. Pingu Concord is here. Oh, God. This is going to haunt me, isn't it? Evening, Admiral Boaty. Unexpectedly busy today. Yeah, the phrase unexpectedly busy is going to haunt me for the rest of my days, thanks to Pingu and Simon and Matt and everybody else who teases me mercilessly. Simone says to preempt Boaty, I don't mind being preempted, my lovely, I can cope with that. I've been working in the garden, organising my lawnmower repair. I had chicken and chips for dinner, and I just posted a film on my Patreon. Okay, well, Simone, I would like to know more about the chicken and chips. How was the chicken prepared? Was it like roast chicken? Was it a chicken breast in some sort of sauce? Was it like chicken burger, chicken escalope, southern fried chicken? I need to know more. And was it just chicken and chips, or did you have something moist with it, like a nice Cajun gravy that I had? I had a good lunch today. I had sausages with sautéed potatoes, steamed green beans, and an absolutely delicious white pepper Cajun gravy, and it was damn good. What have you all been eating? Let me know. Correct, Joe. Sign on the door. To my eternal shame, and this is terrible of me, when I moved my picnic hamper the other day for the Land Rover lunch, this was underneath it, and I had completely forgotten about it. And it's a charming little, I assume it's not original, I assume it's a repro, but nonetheless, it's a beautiful repro, presumably, of a 1957 Italian/French advert for a Fiat 500, a Cinquecento. And that was given to me by my incredibly tall friend Steve on the day that I road tested his Fiat 500. And if you haven't seen that video, seriously go and watch it. A 6'5" guy and a 6'7" guy, both inside one of the smallest cars ever to have been mass produced. It's well worth a watch. And it's a charming video actually, and his absolute love for his car, called Luigi, really does shine through, and I had a lot of fun driving it. Left-hand drive, crash gearbox, no synchro. They're fabulous little things. So well done, Joe, well spotted. Trace got it as well. Yeah, Chaz Brown, good evening, Chaz, you got it. I'm not commenting on what is new, says Matt, in case it was a scratch card. Oh, bloody hell, Jimmy Quinn's still on one. A hidden comment. You got rid of that shit table. It's not a shit table, Jimmy Quinn, and I haven't got rid of it. It's in Boo's arse, just outside there. Boo is still in pole position. Now, normally, as you know, whatever car I'm using is in pole position, Wetleg is in the pits, and the other cars are down by the village hall. But I have sacrificed pole position to Boo. The idea being that I can do some bits and pieces, you know, just a bit of valeting and whatnot. So I've been parking Brian Johnston down the road and walking to and fro as I come and go from work. But Boo is going to be swapped over tomorrow, I think, with the Honourable Shison, because I'm going to this Rover show on Sunday, and I suppose I had better go in the Honourable Shison. I've only got 2 Rovers now, and it's Shison or Brian Johnston, and obviously Shison is the more show-worthy of the 2, but don't tell Brian that. I don't want him getting upset. And I love Brian just as much. You shouldn't have favourites with your, I was going to say children then, how sad is that? Anyway, yeah, Chaz Brown got it, new car plaque on the door. Oh, I said that, didn't I? Boom, says Simon of Project MGTF, one of our community channels. Boaty is back. Sorry, I was unexpectedly busy watching something else. See, I told you I'd get stick. Plans for Sunday, says Matt. Do we have a head count? Should we meet in the lay-by up the road from the museum if there's a few of us? Good question, Matt. Do we know who's going? You're going, I'm going, Simon's going, I think his dad's going. Is anybody else coming? And shall we meet up or reserve spaces or something so that we're all together? I don't know, we can have a chat about that. Jimmy Quinn says, you haven't got a car that goes like the clappers. I bloody have, Jimmy. Wetleg goes like greased weasel droppings, and Stigbürt doesn't hang about either, let me assure you. Admittedly, he hangs about at the moment because Stigbürt is still broken. But when Stigbürt is hopefully unbroken, he will go like the absolute clappers. I'd scare the jeepers out of you in him, Jimmy Quinn. The cheek of it. And let us not forget, Shison is a quick little car. As I proved on my driving home from work challenge thingy. And just a reminder, Shison is still top of that leaderboard. I might have another go in Brian Johnston tomorrow night. I haven't got any other videos to do or ready because I've got a busy couple of days coming up. Sunday is the show and I need to get ready for that and all that. But Monday is going to be a massive day, darlings. Big news. Big news. So I might do a timed run home in Brian Johnston. Haven't done one for ages. The weather is a lot better now. It'll get a video up there. And I've got a feeling that with the better weather, Brian Johnston is in with a chance of knocking Shison off the top. I don't think it'll be permanent, but I think it could be done at least temporarily, because Shison was done in bad weather, in the rain, as was Brian's original run. Quite heavy rain, I seem to recall, wet roads. So yeah, I might give Brian a little tickle tomorrow night, see how he does. Let's see if we can topple Shison. Pingu says, what? Oh, God above. You've all got it in for me tonight, haven't you? Pingu says, watch out for those evil curbs when you're driving home with the clappers. Yeah, I'm never going to be allowed to forget that, am I? Matt is thinking that if we turn up in a convoy or group, we might get future discounts. Possibly. Good luck with that. Looks like a picture of a mini hovercraft from down here. No, it's a Fiat 500. Right. We've got an update from Simone. Breaded chicken breast. And then she adds, I like breast, just in case you weren't aware. Oh, homemade chips. Now, that's lifting this dish to a new level, isn't it? Homemade chips with mixed herb gravy. Right, okay, that's sounding a hell of a lot better now, isn't it? I'm glad there's something moist. I do like a breaded escallop of chicken, and some mixed herb gravy sounds absolutely fabulous. Rover Joe is with us and says, good evening to you, Rover Joe. Jimmy Quinn had barbecue sauce, honey ribeye steak. Jimmy Quinn had barbecue sauce, honey rib and honey. Oh, Christ almighty. He had ribeye steak, honey barbecue sauce wraps with salad. It's not difficult. and yet I seem to make it seem incredibly difficult. I don't know how. Making the simplest things seem almost unachievable is a particular talent of mine. I'm very proud. Honestly, sometimes I struggle to go to the lavatory. I almost said something then, and I really shouldn't. Joe says, I thought you were selling the newer 25, Brian. Oh, well, Joe, I was, but then I fixed him instead. I was selling him because I thought he wasn't going to get fixed. But then the fix turned out to be a lot easier than thought. All it took, amazingly, and touch wood, and this is real wood, amazingly, a new battery seems to have done the trick. I didn't want to sell him. I just didn't want him sitting there all broken. Brian Johnston is my perfect daily. I love him to bits. I fought like mad to buy him in the first place. I obsessed over him for months, as many of you know, before I did actually buy him, and I really didn't want to part with him. It was just in a moment of frustration and poverty, I thought, oh, sod it, and offered him up for sale. Fortunately, nobody bought him. Things didn't seem so desperate the next day. Somebody suggested the battery might be a fault rather than the BCU. That gave me a light bulb moment because that made a lot of sense. Eventually, well, you know the story. I've done videos on it, but, you know, a bit of a Brian update. He's fine. He's absolutely fine, bless him. Not since I put the battery on, not a single hint of an episode. He hasn't put a foot out of line, although the wiper situation that fixed itself did, as I suspected it would, turn out to be a temporary fix, and the intermittent and the automatic wipe on wash is now not working again. But I'm loving him. I love him. He's my perfect daily. And yeah, I'm delighted that he's working. Oh, it's MG Rover acceptable, I think, on Sunday, says Matt. In which case, that brings Wetleg into play, doesn't it? Wetleg is due having her wheels turned over, and Wetleg has a new knob. Should I take Wetleg's new... Go on, you tell me, what should I take up? Right, Stigbürt's knackered, temporarily knackered, hopefully. But knackered nonetheless. Land Rovers don't count, so booze out. Well, it's just, right, so it's either Shison or Wetleg, innit? Which should I take on Sunday? And what sandwiches should I make? That's the real question. You know me, the priority on anything is always food. What am I going to eat? That's more important than anything else. And I have been thinking about sandwiches, and the current favourite for my lunch on Sunday is thinly sliced rare roast beef with rocket and I was going to say watercress, and I don't mean watercress. What's the other one? The big leaf. God almighty, I can't remember, but so beef with leaf, whatever the leaf is, I can't remember what it's called, but rocket and that anyway. Rocket's nice and peppery, and the other big roundy leafy thing with some horseradish sandwiches, and then some Walker's ready salted crisps and a few pickled onions. That is that's leading the poll, the sandwich poll at the moment. How's your day been, Boaty? Says everything cars, and good evening to you. Well, let's think. Today's been all right, actually. Today's been all right. I had a bit of a lie-in, which I really needed. I've been so tired. Not much of a lie-in, but enough to make a big difference. I didn't get up feeling as if I'd already done half a day's work. So that was good. I've had a bit of a lazy one. I didn't edit a video. I didn't make a video. I've potted around the cottage, catching up with housework and jobs. I caught up with nearly all of the comments on the YouTube vids and across the socials. And that's like a bloody full-time job in itself, but an important one. If any of you are kind enough to comment on any of the socials or any of the videos, then I feel that I absolutely should acknowledge and reply. It's the correct thing to do, and I always do. If you've ever left a comment on my video and I haven't replied to it, the only reason would be that I haven't seen it. Sometimes, for reasons that I don't understand, comments don't appear on the app. And they don't even appear on the browser unless you toggle the doings. But they should come up on the app, because you have a list of comments that you haven't responded to. And that's what I normally go off. And sometimes, for reasons I don't understand, comments will show up like a month or 6 weeks after they were initially made. And I'll reply to them then. But you probably wonder, why the bloody hell has he ignored this for 6 weeks? The bloody arrogant prick. And it's not, I've not done it on purpose, I promise. I try not to let too many days go by without replying, because I genuinely love reading them and I love interacting on them. I'm making it sound like a chore, and it's not. I'll tell you what it is. It's a pleasure and it's a privilege. That's what it is. Now then. Also, says Joe, what's happening with Wetleg's rear damage by the lorry going in dry? Yeah, didn't it just? It's on the list of things to do when I've got money spare. It's kind of higher priority than other things, but obviously at the moment Stigbürt is #1 priority. So yeah, that's Stigbürt comes first at the moment, followed actually by Brian Johnston, who is about to run out of MOT on the 21st. And that is one of the jobs that I'm hoping to get done on Monday. But another thing that's happening on Monday may help to pay for something else, and maybe the start of more things that will help pay for other things and help the fleet stagger along in some sort of shape of form of health. I'll tell you more about that as we go on. A message held for review from Bad Books. I cooked spag bowl for tea, says Bad Books. Weather quite hot today. Oh dear. My brother's elderly cat died a few weeks ago. That's sad, obviously. Sorry to hear that. But here comes the silver lining to the cloud. I have sourced him a 1-year-old ragdoll pussy. He has called him Bungle. Brilliant. Oh, that's good. You know, I loved James Herriot. I still do. The lovely Alf White, long gone, of course. And his advice was always, as hard as it is, when you lose a much-loved pet, the last thing that you feel like doing is replacing them. But it's the thing that you absolutely should do. And I agree with that. And he also pointed out that if you are grieving over a lost pet, then the chances are you were and are a good owner. And there are always too many pets or animals in the world that both need and deserve good owners. So, and I've been there. I've never cried in my life like when I've had cats and dogs that go to the Rainbow Bridge. Now, I choose not to believe in most things, which sounds odd coming from a minister of the church. I'm aware. We should discuss my views on the church at some point. Not tonight, because I don't want to keep you too long tonight, and that could be a long discussion. That's probably a Monday night discussion. But there are many things that I choose not to believe in. I'm quite a realist in many ways. But if you accept, and I do, that a lot of religion is escapism, it's a way to not have to deal with the harsh realities of life and death. And that is, I'll level with you guys. I'm always honest with you. That is my view on religion, that it is an escapism. However, I believe in the validity of the church in other ways. Now, don't hit me with stories of churches historically rampaging, taking land, so on. Don't hit me with stories about Catholic priests liking little boys' bums and all of that sort of thing. I don't dispute it. I don't dispute it for a second. But that is not my church. And I'm sure that all modern day Catholics and Church of England would absolutely repel and be aghast at the historical awfulnesses that have gone on. But I believe in the church as a social organisation. I mean, on one level, I think that any organisation that says, in any way, shape or form, and on any level, hey, be nice to each other, think about other people, that's got to be a good thing, no? And when I moved to Cheeseburger, are you here? Because I'm going to mention Cook Hill, and I know you know where that is. When I moved to Cook Hill, which was a real socially climbing thing to do. This is when I was in my early 20s. And I was still not all that well off. I wasn't poor by any manner of means, but I wasn't particularly, I certainly wasn't rich. What did I do with that? So I had the brilliant idea that I would move to a really good postcode. And that's exactly what I did. I moved to a place that had a really good postcode. It was like Millionaires Row. But in the middle of this Millionaires Row, all of these stupidly expensive houses, there was a slightly incongruous little block of 4 one-bedroom apartments. So I went into, I moved into one of those. Brilliant postcode, so that when you gave your address and for car insurance and for business, it looked like you were rich living in, but I wasn't. I was in my very early 20s. It was a very humble one-bedroom apartment, but in a really, really nice place. And that was a village with a very strong community. When I moved in, and it wasn't I moving in, I forget. There were 2 of us. I was engaged to Sasha at the time, who I'm still friends with to this day. And we moved in there together, didn't we? Yeah, that's right. And on the evening that we moved in, or possibly the evening after, pretty much the entire village came round with housewarming gifts, and it was all a bit overwhelming. And they all welcomed us to the village and introduced themselves and gave us gifts, which was rather lovely. And a few days later, the local vicar stroke priest stroke man in charge of the church, the village church, came round. And as you do, I invited him in and gave him refreshments. He wasn't booked or anything. He turned up ad hoc. But, you know, I'm of a generation that when the priest comes round, or the vicar, you show them into your best room, you get your best crockery out, your best tea set out, and you give them the posh biscuits from the posh biscuit barrel and your best tea. And, you know, I had enough of that thanks to my grandparents, inculcated into me. So that's what I did, and we had a chat. And now, at the time, it was long before I was a member of any organised religion, and certainly long before I was ordained. At the time, I wasn't even agnostic. I was very heavily atheist. And again, bizarrely, I still am, which sounds ridiculous, but I can justify it. And he started talking about the church and the activities and how welcome I would be. And I kind of said, you know, please don't take offence at this, but I am very, very strictly and heavily atheist. I have my reasons for so being. And I respect everybody else's belief and opinions, but for me, and he said, oh, let me stop you there. He said, I don't care whether you believe in God. I don't care. And if you do believe in God, I don't care which God you believe in. And if you are religious, I don't care which religion you follow. And if you don't follow any religion at all, I don't care about that either. He said, our church is, quite aside from any symbolism it has as a religious place of worship, it's a central hub for the village community. It's somewhere where we come together, where we share our company, and where we make sure that everybody in our community is okay. You know, the people who don't have family or friends to worry about them or be concerned or look after them, we do it. And he said, that's what the church is about. So forget, and I thought, brilliant. I'm totally on board with this. And he then went on to speak about other work that they did, in terms of refugees and so on, and working in Africa. And I was very interested in that and very enthused by that. And that was how I ended up, some years later, admittedly, probably about 8, maybe more, maybe 9. That was how I actually ended up going to and living in Africa. I never forgot that guy, never forgot him. And another thing that struck me was, I of course married a Catholic woman, proper Irish Catholic. And when she used to go to Mass, I would go with her. I made a complete arse of myself. I didn't understand what was going on, right? And at some point in the proceedings, everybody stopped and shook hands with the people next to them. And I thought that they were saying, pleased to meet you, because that made sense. So I shook hands with everybody around me and said, pleased to meet you, pleased to meet you, pleased to meet you. And my wife tugged at my shirt and said, you're supposed to say, peace be with you. I said, oh, fucking hell, I didn't know. And then at another point, they all queued up to be given cheese and biscuits and a glass of wine by the priest. Although again, it turns out it wasn't cheese and biscuits. It was the body of Christ. And it was a glass of wine, or a sip of a glass of wine anyway. And I sort of thought, well, I'm not Catholic. I can't be part of this. I can do the rest of it. I can shake hands with people and say, pleased to meet you. And I can join in with karaoke. Because they did a karaoke where you sang all of these cool religious songs. Hymns, I believe they're called. Although they should also be called hers. And now they should probably be called thems. But I thought, yeah, I'm not going to get the cheese and biscuits, am I? And Maggie and the kids, who were Catholic too, obviously, it meant they got to go to the good school. Any of you who know Chesterfield, they got to go to St. Mary's. They didn't have to go to the dodgy one. So they all got in the queue for the cheese and biscuits. And I didn't. I lingered. And one of the priests came up and said, are you not joining your family? And I said, no, Father, I'm not Catholic. Oh, don't be worrying about that, he said. You're a beautiful Irishman. Don't be worrying about that. If you were willing to come here and give us your time and be part of this, then you're welcome. I don't care whether you're Catholic or not. If you would like to join your family and receive what we say is the body of Christ and the blood of Christ, you may not choose to see it like that, but we will not exclude you. You came here, you're part of it, you've shown willingness to join, despite the fact that that you're not a strict believer, and you are very welcome. Please join your family. And I thought that was great. And looking back, those were the two things that turned me round to looking to, if not religion per se, then certainly looking to the church on a different basis. Now, of course, when we're talking about that, we're talking about individual churches, not religions, because no doubt there will, as in all of humanity, no doubt there will be good churches and there will be less good churches. There will be good priests and there will be less than good priests. That's the way of the world, isn't it? But it did change my mind as to the possibilities. And then when I discovered a church that had all of the upsides and none of the downsides, and a lot more upsides on top of the upsides of the others. And when I found that church, I thought, yep, that's it. This is me. And I joined. And then I thought, this is amazing. I would like to represent this church. I would like to become a minister. I would like to become ordained. So I did. And so did you, didn't you, Liz? Me and Liz, you've got a matching pair of his and hers highly powered ministers within our community, and possibly more. I don't know if there are any more of you out there who are church officials, but me and Liz certainly are. Why was I talking about that? I remember I started talking about something else. And I've got no idea why I'm talking about. Oh, that's right. Pets and the Rainbow Bridge. Right, okay, so I don't believe in most aspects of religion per se. I don't believe in heaven and I don't believe in hell. I choose, however, to believe in the Rainbow Bridge because I'm no different to anybody else. I need some form of escapism. Now, I can cope with the idea that I was born by accident. I've been blessed with a life that I've tried to make the best of, and I'm fully aware that I will die. Frankly, I'm bloody amazed I haven't already. And I'm okay with that. I'm a realist. That's the way it is. That's the top and the bottom of it. A lot of people can't cope with that idea, and I think that in many ways that's how religion was born. Partly to make sense of this, what I consider to be an accident, but also, is my candle going out? Oh, first one. But also to mitigate the kind of awfulness of death, because death does seem like an awful thing. When you're young, it seems incomprehensible. It seems like the ultimate fear. As you get older, that lessens. Partly you become accustomed to the fact that people are born and people die. Dying young would always be a tragedy. But, you know, when you get to a certain age, then as much as you don't particularly want to die, you think, well, I've done all right. I mean, I'm 52. I haven't had any serious illnesses. I've had a bit of tragedy in my life, as we all do. I've lost all of my family. But, you know, generally speaking, life has been a hoot and a holler. It's been a hell of a lot of fun, and it's been a blessing. And, you know, if I got, please God, I don't, God that I, you know, well, my God, not that. Well, touch wood, let's touch wood, not instead of please God. That's a Catholic thing. You know, you spend however many years it was living with a Catholic family, you come out with phrases like that. And there's no harm in it in many ways. But if I was hit by a bus tomorrow and had time to think about it, I'd sort of said, well, you know, can't complain too much, really. And then as you become older and you become more infirm and your body starts degenerating, then I think you become more accepting of it as well, you know, the finality of life. Because, so, but the point that I'm trying to make is that, well, I can cope with that for myself, then, and this is very irrational, I struggle to cope with it in terms of pets. And so I choose to believe, and I do believe it wholeheartedly, even though I know it's nonsense, but I still believe it because I choose to, because it suits me. So I believe in the idea of the Rainbow Bridge. I believe that all those animals that you had and that you loved beyond any words, and I loved my many pets like I can't describe. I mean, it's an absolutely unconditional love, both ways, and I can't describe the grief when with each and every one when I lost them. Oh God! So I'm literally on the verge of tears now, even just thinking and talking about it. Bonzo and Kaz and Laddie and Humphrey and Mavis and Biddy, and the list goes on. Oh, and Biffa. Oh, God bless him, Biffa. Biffa was my Labrador cross Rottweiler, and he had a very tragic end, very traumatic. That was one of the hardest things I've ever had to deal with. That was harder than burying my bloody parents, for God's sake. Yeah, I choose to believe that there's a rainbow bridge, that they're all up there. I'm actually going to cry. Fucking hell. This is ridiculous. Talk about something else. I actually believe, stupidly, because I choose to, that there's a rainbow bridge, that they're all up there on the other side, and that at some point, when I cough it, I'll go up to the bridge and they'll all be galloping over the fucking hell. Oh, you stupid man. Oh dear. Pets, eh? Oh God. Well, that was a mistaken road to go down, wasn't it? Tune in for Thursday night live stream and watch a fat old bloke blubber at you because he's remembering some bloody dogs and cats. Mrs. Postlethwaite. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh God above. Ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, so Bad Book's brother has got a new cat and that's lovely. Matt says big tomatoes, which seems a bit of a non sequitur, or perhaps it's a euphemistic compliment to me in some way, which is a bit weird but pleasant. Evening conscript, says Cheeseburger. I've been on the beer in Brum with a friend. Not looking forward to tomorrow morning. Worry about that in the morning. Just have a pint of water before you go to bed, mate. You'll be grand. Glad you're not selling him now, says Joe, talking about Brian. Me too. Me too. It was a stupid knee-jerk reaction that I occasionally do, and it was very misguided. Gotta love the life a new battery can breathe into a car, says Pure Rebel. Well, certainly in this case, hell yeah. Oh, this is interesting. Pingu says, do you prefer Brian as your Arthur over the Honourable HJ? That's a really difficult one, Pingu. That's a really difficult one. Right, I think the honest answer is yes, I do. I think the honest answer is that, yeah, I actually do. But there are things that I really miss about HJ. And I was fantasizing in the car the other day. This is true. And I was fantasizing about combining the best things of HJ and Brian. And I know why I was fantasizing about that. It was because of a thing that popped up on Facebook. Now, one of the things that I miss about HJ is the climate control system. He had, and I hope he still has, ice cold aircon, and the automatic digital climate control system worked an absolute treat. And I really, really miss that. Yeah, the thing that popped up on Facebook was pointing out that if you need to replace the climate control system in a Lamborghini Murcielago or in a Pagani Zonda, it'll cost you about 6,000 quid or something daft like that. And it's actually the climate control unit out of a Rover 45. Believe it or not, it's 100% true. 100% true. And at the time that thing was done, you could buy the climate control unit for a Rover 45 for about £160. Quite a saving there for just knowing that it was a shared part. And it shows the profiteering of Lamborghini and Pagani, whatever they're called. But yeah, I miss the climate about HJ. I miss the driving position. I was incredibly comfortable. I miss the handling. The Honourable HJ was one of the best handling cars I've ever driven. Certainly, probably definitely the best handling front wheel drive car that I've ever driven. The driving position was perfect for me. I loved that. So yeah, I really miss those things. What I don't miss and I'll talk about the 45 in general rather than the specific example. What don't I miss? I missed the internal boot release that Brian hasn't got, that HJ had, and the internal fuel cap release. I missed those. What else? The thing I don't miss is the Rover 45. I've not driven a pre-facelift in my recent times. I will have ages ago, but I can't remember that. But certainly the facelift Rover 45 has got the worst turning circle of any car that I have ever driven. It is ridiculously bad. And on my regular driving route, there are two junctions where the steering lock, the turning circle, was genuinely dangerous. That's how bad it is. I've got no idea why it's so bad, but it's horrendously awful. But then there are many things that I love about Brian. I love his leather interior. I love the fact, I've always had this thing. I don't know if any of you have got this or had this. And I'm aware that I'm falling behind with your comments, but you're going to have to put up with it. It's my last live stream until the next one, which could easily be tomorrow, even though I'll tell you it won't be. It could be. You know me, I can't help myself. I've always had a thing for nice luxury things in very basic cars. Now, I don't know who was first to do it, but I want to say Renault with the Renault 5, which was a humble little, like, super mini type thing. And they released a version, I think it was called the Monaco, which had full plush leather trim, electric windows, this, that, the other. And I loved that idea. Now, I know that Mini did it. It was done as an aftermarket thing for Minis, like the ERA, was it? And other companies that produce plush Minis. And it generally became more common. But that's one of the things I love about Brian, that he's a Rover 25, which is quite humble. He's a facelift, which makes him very humble. So he's put together with paper mache and spit and hopes for good luck. But he's got full leather. He's got electric windows all round, which is quite a rare option on a 25. He's got air conditioning, albeit not climate control. And I love all of that about him. And I love his story as well. That's why I bonded with Brian. I loved his story. And I fell in love with Brian when he was left unloved in Mustard's yard for months and months on end. And I thought he was a fabulous little chap. And I thought he deserved to come to me. So yeah, that's a really long answer to a very short question. I do prefer Brian, if I'm absolutely honest. I wish he had a sunroof. I'm a sucker for a sunroof. I'll take a sunroof over aircon. If he had a sunroof, he would be utterly perfect. But he hasn't, so there you go. I'm still waiting for the engine mans to arrive for TC, says Simone. Well, let's hope they get there soon. Does anyone use an FM transmitter in their car, says Simon? Yes, I do. And I'm going to be doing a review on this very soon. Now, in hindsight, I am blaming the cheap Chinese FM transmitter for a lot of Brian's woes. Because when I stopped using that, the problem stopped. Or largely stopped anyway. I'm not convinced that it wasn't that buggered up the battery. I do still use one. but I use this. I'm going to do a review on this. It's an old bit of kit. You can pick them up secondhand on eBay or Facebook. That is a Mark 1 Jabra Cruiser. They also did a Mark 2, which I would like to buy when I can find one. Now, they're both discontinued. I've got no idea how old this is. Properly old. Now, it clips onto your sun visor. It is a Bluetooth hands-free for your phone. You switch it on the side there.
Connected.
There you go, you heard that possibly. It connects into your phone and acts as a hands-free for your phone. And then on the side here, there is a little button just there, and you press that.
107.8 megahertz.
And that is then an FM transmitter that transmits your phone to your car's onboard gramophone on a frequency that you choose. Now, this doesn't plug into the cigarette lighter. You charge it with, let's turn you off.
Power off.
There you go. You charge it with a separate cable, and the battery will last for like 3 days. It's got a motion sensor, so it'll automatically turn itself off when it's not being used, and it works brilliantly. Now, I didn't buy this. This happened to be in Sir Arnold when I bought him, and along with the best tire inflator that I've ever owned, and that I'm so glad to have. And I was kind of interested by this, so I did a search online, found the company website, and they still, you can still look at or even download all of the instructions for this. So I did, and I started using it, and it is one of the best gadgets I've ever had, especially for a modern classic, because it means that you can keep your original gramophone in there, which is, to me, preferable, especially when it's a beautiful one like Shison. But put all of your music content onto your phone, and you can stream it to the gramophone with this fellow, and it keeps you legal because it's also a hands-free phone thing, and it's got buttons that do various things. So if you're looking for something like this, I heartily recommend that you keep your eyes peeled on eBay or Facebook Marketplace for a Jabra Cruiser. And the Cruiser 2 does all of the same things, looks a bit more funky, and you compare 2 phones rather than 1. But don't look for one yet, because I want another one. I've only got one. I've only got this one. And I would love a Cruiser 2, so that I'm not having to swap them in between vehicles. I don't need this for Wetleg, because Wetleg has got a phone-enabled gramophone, as you know. But I use it literally every day in Brian. I use him in Boo. I will use him in Stigbürt, and I use him in Shison. I wouldn't be without this. And you can pick one of these up for a tenner. And these are a proper bit of kit. They're nothing like those Chinese ones that you plug into the cigarette lighter and will give you a voltage reading. Now, here's an interesting thing. When Matt went to his own Furious Driving meet, I noticed on his video that when he was having his battery issues, he was telling the breakdown man that he had one of those Chinese FM transmitters plugged into his cigarette lighter, and he was giving him the battery reading from it. I reckon that's what fucked up his battery, and I reckon it's what fucked up Brian, because Brian was fine until I started using that in him. Now I use this, and I would recommend that you do too. Pick one up for a tenner. They're brilliant, but don't do it yet, because I want to buy another one, and I don't want you lot snatching them all. There you go, I've answered that. I'm on a roll today. And I'm just going to put him back on charge, ready for use tomorrow. Seriously, brilliant bit of kit. Sound quality is amazing. It's got all voice stuff on it and everything. And for all I know, the Cruiser 2 is even better still. I mean, that is probably, I don't know how old it is, 10 years, 15 years old. It's amazing. It's brilliant. It's a life changer. So, there you go. Cheeseburger says, has anybody seen the latest salvage rebuilds vid? A 97p capacitor causing thousands in cost. EVs aren't the answer. No, I agree. Hydrogen cell vehicles are the answer. Matt says there's a tidy silver MG ZR at a garage in Smalley, around the bend from the MG Rover latest collection. I bumped into them last night at Sainsbury's. We both parked up at the same time and we had a long old chat and a really good old catch up. And I enjoyed that very much. Bacon sandwich with brown sauce, says Simone. And I'm okay. Oh, is that for Sunday? Is that a suggestion for Sunday? No, because bacon sandwiches should be hot, and I'm sure I'm not going to be allowed to cook there, so it's going to be a cold sandwich, and I don't fancy cold bacon and brown sauce. Joe says, take Wetleg. It would be nice to take him on a day out. He's a her. And if you watch the videos and listen to her voice, she is definitely a her, is Wetleg von Tittybiscuits. But I agree, it would be nice to take her for a day out. And that would mean that I could keep Boo in pole position. And I could get to play with her new knob. I think you've hit on something there, Joe. If MG Rover are definitely acceptable, then I think Wetleg gets a turn. Bad Book says, tin tomato sandwiches, bleh, and take Wetleg. That's another vote for Wetleg. Simon says, I bought a cheap one off eBay and it's crap. Considering buying a more expensive one tomorrow for Sunday. Okay, well, I'll catch up with the comments. Maybe that helped you, Simon. Pingu says, Shison's had their day out. Take Wetleg for a spanking on Sunday and let Simon do a review video of her. Okay, right, that's another vote for Wetleg. Joe says, sausage and mustard sandwich. Well, I took sausage last time and I had it with, what did I have it with? Oh, onion relish. That was it. And that might be an option because it's nice and cheap and convenient and easy. And everyone that I've been to so far, I've had and it would mean that I got to use up the onion relish, wouldn't it? Oh, onion chutney. See, this will go off and I might as well use it, hadn't I? Right, I've decided. I'm going to stick to tradition. It's going to be sausage and onion chutney and Walker's crisps. But what flavour crisps with a sausage and onion chutney sandwich? That's another question, isn't it? Morning all, says Ross. Jesus, what a sea of green. Busy work day today, so just here for 10. Oh, okay. Then we're talking about FM transmitters. Oh, God. Boat, says Cheeseburger. You mentioned the Great British car journey a couple of days ago. Were you alluding to a gentleman formerly associated with auto windscreens? I shouldn't say too much. Right, Cheeseburger, I know that you're kind of in the know on a lot of things, so I think you and I are both probably singing off the same hymn sheet, aren't we? But we'd better be reasonably careful about what we say, I suppose. especially as I'm actually going there on Sunday now, but I think you know what I'm talking about, mate. And I think I know what you're talking about. And I think we both know what we're both talking about. And I think we both know about certain bits of the history. In fact, every time we've spoken about things like this before, you've always known more than me. So you probably do in this case too. My choice of which car you would take, says Matt, would depend on who is joining us, what they're arriving in, and obviously which one you'd prefer. Oh, okay. Simon, says Pingu, take your spare fob on Sunday and Techmeister Boaty could program it in for you. Yeah, I could. You've got the Lucas, yeah, on yours? Easy to do. It's literally a 3-minute job. Let me know if you want to do that and I'll take the things with me. But, right, don't video it, all right? Don't video it and don't talk about it. A load of people have said, oh, you could make money by programming people's fobs and whatnot. Two things with that. One, legally, according to the contract of sale that is implied with PScan, you can't use it on a third-party basis. That's why the program is programmed to only work with 2 computers to stop it being spread around for free. Obviously, that's an obvious thing. And also, given the fact that I was given PScan by Philip, then it's my duty to recommend that you all go out and buy it, right? I shouldn't be using my freebie so that you guys don't go out and buy what is a brilliant bit of kit and what you would really benefit from owning. That said, although, actually, I've just thought of something. Okay, forget I said all of that. Sorry, Simon, I forgot that you are also a YouTuber. Yeah, let's do it. Do video it, but put a video up with all of the links to PScan and everything in there, and do the video as a paid promotion, and then we're okay. Or don't video it, don't do all of that, but just keep it, we'll do it and just keep it quiet between us. Does that make sense? Because I don't want to take the piss. Philip's a lovely guy. PScan is an amazing bit of kit. And I genuinely think it's not a lot of money. Rob's got one. And I think any long-term, medium to long-term MG Rover, Land Rover owner should have it in their car arsenal, or carsenal, or car armory, or carmery. But obviously, between us, obviously I'll be happy to do that. So just let me know either way, and I'll bring the PScan and the computer, and we can absolutely do that. I'm a whiz at it now. I've done quite a few, and I've repaired some fobs, and fobs are plenty here. So yeah, that wouldn't be a problem at all. Good shout, Pingu. Fucking hell! After I've said all of that, Simon goes on to say, "I'm taking Henrietta, all being well." So forget all of that. Oh dear. Right, let me just whiz through these, because some of you is talking about yourself, talking amongst yourself. Are you buying a red bulb on Monday? Says Simon. No, I'm not buying a bulb. I'm buying something. Ross says, Boaty's becoming a gigolo. Fucking hell, I'll have to pay them, mate. Who's going to pay me? Who's going to pay me to administer a podgering? Look at the state of me. My looks left me, 15, 20 years ago. I'm a shambling wreck of an excuse for a man these days. I could possibly operate a glory hole, and that would be about it. Oh dear. Okay. Grieving over a pet, says Cheeseburger. How about the wife? I don't need to. Well, she grieved just as much as I did, and I don't need to grieve over her because she is very much alive and well and thriving. She's a grandmother now, and she's got an amazing job, an amazing career. She's incredibly rich, and I hope she's very happy. She doesn't talk to me these days. She got annoyed with me after the divorce thing, and after I failed to go through with her plan of us getting back together, getting remarried, but signing prenuptials. So everything she gained in the divorce, she hung onto. And unfortunately, I went off and started humping Bernard, which she forgave me for. In fact, that reinvigorated her. I had some of the best times were with my wife were when I started my thing with Bernard, and I had a thing going on, and the wife kind of, well, she was the ex-wife at that point, so sort of became really competitive and tried to prove that she was better than Bernard. I had a fantastic time. But then, of course, I met Boo and I fell in love, and Mags got a little bit bitter over that because Boo was younger and, you know, all of that sort of thing. And, well, and because she didn't get what she wanted, I suppose. I don't know. But, yeah, I don't grieve over Mags. That's not entirely true. I grieve. I only intended to get married once. Well, that might turn out to be true. Let me put it another way. When I got married for life, and the divorce wasn't my choice, not by any manner of means. And I grieve over the fact that I have a failed marriage, which I never, ever intended to have. And I grieve over the fact that I have zero contact with the children that I raised as my own and loved as my own and love to this day. I grieve over that. But I'm not going to burst into tears over it, which maybe does suggest that actually my pets were more important. Blackline says, oh dear, right, okay. I don't believe anything I see on TV, says Simon. Blackline says, I'm not religious, but I do have faith. Yeah, I accept that. Religion, says Simon, equals coping mechanism. I agree, in many ways. Simone says, when my cat Breeze passed away, I was broken. She was 19 and a half. After a year, my mum bought me a rescue cat called Georgia. Yeah, been there. And Simon says that's a really good age for a kitty cat. It was. Humphrey was 21 when he passed. I like the charitable aspect of religion, says Matt. The dish of cash they let you help yourself. Oh, God above, Matt. I'm not reading that out. You ought to be... It's a good joke, actually, but I'm not reading it out. I've done a similar joke as well. Ross says, the funeral I went to was a full rosary and full Catholic mass. I'm a Protestant. I stood up and sat down more times than playing musical chairs. Cheeseburger says, Cook Hill is full of knobs. I have clients there. Yeah, it was full of knobs then as well. But there was some, oh God. Shortly after I moved there, the other guy from the guy that I built the classic car place with, Rich, he then bought a house there as well. And we started using the local pub, and didn't we shake that village up between us? Bloody hell. I mean, I just kind of kept my head down, but when Rich was there as well, and we started using the local when we weren't, because when Rich moved there, Rich had actually got married and had a kid. So Rich and I, we used to do the town together, and we were proper, you know, we were proper lads out on the town, flash cars, Ferraris, Bentleys, wads of cash on us. We did the whole 9 yards. But then I got engaged to Sash. He got married to Jessica, who we're still married to. And by the time we moved to Cook Hill, oh, actually, no, that's right. Holly was already born when he moved to Cook Hill. And then Maisie was born not long after he moved to Cook Hill, because, oh God, yeah, I had to do that emergency, babysit. Oh, bless him. His mum, Sally, who I adored, sadly, oh God, that was one of the hardest things I ever had to do. She had cancer, and she used to work at the showrooms, and she was very good to me when I first started there, and I was very, very fond of her. My mentor, Morris, who was like one of my second fathers, him and the goat, it was his ex-wife, and he'd remarried, she never did, but they were still friends. And they worked together. Sally was very good. She was like the sensible one of the partnership. And she got cancer. And I remember, as if it was yesterday, Richard brought her from the hospice to the showrooms for the last time. And she kind of walked in and said, hello everyone, I've come to say goodbye. And how the fuck do you cope with that? I would have been in my 20s then. I didn't know how to cope with that. That broke me. That absolutely broke me. And Richard sort of said, well, how about saying hello before you say goodbye, Mum? And God, I hadn't thought about that for ages. And she died very, very shortly afterwards. And on the night that she died, I got a knock at the door in Cook Hill, and it was Rich, and he had to go to the hospice with Jess. And I had to, well, I didn't have to, but obviously he asked me to, and obviously I did. I had to go to his house and babysit Holly and Maisie with no experience with a relatively newborn baby and, you know, a tiny toddler, and look after them and get them up and give them breakfast and try and keep them clean and alive and stuff like that. I haven't thought about this for ages. God, yeah. And then there was the funeral, Sally's funeral, bless her, God love her. And what do I remember about that? I drove one of the cars. We used our own vehicles. And I drove one of the cars carrying the mourners. It was a Bentley S2 that either Richard or I owned at the time. And oh God, I ran out of petrol. I actually ran out of petrol. Can you believe that? In this beautiful Bentley S2. Oh God, it was mortifying. And it wasn't my fault. I told Richard to fuel the car. And like most rich people, he was very careful with a buck. God almighty, wasn't he careful with the buck? Unless it was him spending it, in which case he was profligate, obviously. And he fueled the Bentley, sure. Just, you know, stupid. And I ran out of fuel in the middle of a bloody funeral. Christ above, literally. And then, just to show that there's always pathos and humour at these times. Two things I remember from the service and I've forgotten the proper name for it, when the coffin goes into internment. In the service, Morris gave a very touching, speech, eulogy about him and Sally. And the thing that I remember was that he said that even though the marriage had failed, the friendship and the respect and the love never did. And he said, with us, it really was until death do us part. And I remembered that very vividly, because I thought that that was a very nice way to think about two people who, even though the marriage hadn't worked for whatever reasons, it was a lovely way to think about how the connection between two people should be, even after the end of a relationship. And I've never thought about this before, but thinking about it now, I think that plays a big part in why I've always wanted to remain friends with my previous partners or fiancés or wives. And it hasn't always worked. Well, in fact, it's hardly ever worked. But I kind of wish it did, because I'm discerning. And if I've been with somebody in that level of a personal relationship, it's because they're good people, and it's because they're admirable, and it's because I like them and I respect them. And that shouldn't disappear because the relationship does. I hate this idea of, oh, you know, I hated him, he was an arsehole, he was this, or she was that, she was, you know, why did you get with them in the first place if they're these awful people? It's bollocks. It's absolute bollocks. Everybody that I've had a relationship with has been fabulous, and I wish I was still friends with them all. I messaged Lindsay, boom, sent her a message last night. Stupid thing. I sent her, she knows about the Land Rover, she knows it's named after her because the registration kind of says Lindsay, and that's why the Land Rover is called Boo, because I called Lindsay Boo. And I said last night, I sent her a link to the video and then a picture of the comments where in one of the hashtags, for old time's sake, I couldn't help myself, I did hashtag Boaty and Boo. And when we first got together, that was our Instagram and Facebook thing, that everything that we did, it was hashtag Boaty and Boo. And I sort of said, I never thought I'd be using this hashtag again, you know? Anyway. I can't remember why I was talking about any of that now. Oh, yeah. And the interment, when the coffin was lowered into the ground, and again, we're talking Catholic people, and this is where the humour came in. I wet myself at this. Now, Morris, my mentor, Morris was a grafter. He was an Irish guy, came over to England with nothing, lived on his wits. Total entrepreneur. I've spoken about him before. I worshipped the guy. And he was a grafter, an absolute grafter. His son, Richard, had an entitled upbringing, went to public school, which he got expelled from eventually, went to a very expensive school, you know, had every chance in life and never did a hard day's work in his life. He was also an entrepreneur and a very successful one. He's in Spain now. I've told you before, he's got the biggest radio station in Spain. He's got other businesses. He's a really, really good businessman, but he's never had to do a hard day's work. And when Richard got to the point in the internment when he took the handful of soil and did the dropping on the coffin thing, I was standing next to Morris, and Morris turned to me and said under his breath, that's the first time he's got his fucking hands dirty since he fell over when he was 4 years old. And I almost fell in the grave laughing. I mean, it was so incredibly funny and so hideously inappropriate. And, oh, God. Oh, dear. Anyway, back to the comments. Christ, look at the time. It was going to be an hour tonight. I've done it again, haven't I? Sorry, guys. And I'm way behind on your comments. I apologise for that as well. I will catch up with them now, and I will shut up and stop rambling. Where did I get to? Oh, God, we've leapt forward a lot. I did that one. I did that one. I did that one. Oh, is that as far as I got? Cook Hill is full of knobs. Have a look at my little place when you go past there, Cheeseburger. You can't miss it. There's only one little square block of 4 apartments in Cook Hill. And it's kind of right smack. Yeah, it's kind of in the middle, maybe a little bit more Astral Bank side. And if you're going out of Astral Bank, it's on your right-hand side. Can't miss it. And I was number 54. 54, The Ridgeway, Cook Hill. Can't remember the postcode. Had some good times there. Sasha and I split up. And so I ended up living there on my own. And, oh God, I could tell you some tales about that place. The police raids, the female traffic, the parties on the lawns. I had enormous lawns. We'll talk about all of that. We'll have a reminisce someday. And I'll remind me to tell you about the Cook Hill days, the mad Cook Hill days, after Sasha and I split up. Bloody hell. Simone says, talking of church, I'm off to clean up more gravestones tomorrow. Good for you. I think that's a fabulous thing to do. Once upon a time, says Simon, there was a thing. The end. Oh, okay. Simone says, a lady who goes there hasn't seen the stone from her family in 5 years. I'm keen to get the stones cleared. That is a brilliant thing, Simone. I love that you wrote that. I love that it's something that you want to do, and I raise my glass to you. That is the kind of thing that I love. If more people thought to do stuff like that, the world would be a better place. But all of you guys, you are all the sort of people who would do that and do that sort of thing. I know that. That's why we all get on so well together. But good on you, Simone. You were already right up there in my estimation, and you've gone up another notch. And I will watch that video if you make one. Boaty, why did you get ordained? Were you planning on performing services or joining the church in a professional catastrophe? Neither of those things, mate. I just wanted a recognisable and official affiliation with an organisation that I wholeheartedly believed in. I've never acted in a professional capacity. It's not something that I use the title Reverend when it suits me. I just wanted to do it. So I did. He's banging on about religion, says Cheeseburger. Is Sam Fox Opewap? Okay. God, here we go. Oh dear. Fucking Jackanory, says Jimmy Quinn. Look, don't act all surprised. You know me. You know what you're letting yourself in for. You know you're not going to get a bloody succinct and relevant live stream. You know I'm going to ramble on about all sorts of crap. Oh, and apparently Sam Fox is 57, so not quite yet. You can't whap Sam Fox anyway. She's a lesbian. I'm not religious, says Simone, but I still like to help the church, Boaty. Yeah, you get it, Simone. That's exactly what I'm going on about. What the fuck is he on about now, says Cheeseburger. I've had toast for tea and a packet of crisps. We'll be talking about the funeral next, says Jimmy Quinn. Well, we've done that. Doing stuff for others is an awesome thing to do, says Simon. I find it harder to take some steps when your brain is being a bit pants. Oh, yeah, right, get that. He's turning into Jesse Yates, says Jimmy Quinn. Who's Jesse Yates? I don't know. Oh, I forgot about the dinner thing, says Simon. What did I have? Crisp sandwich. I had a crisp sandwich. We had dinner at Whitby's in Doncaster. Oh, okay. Are there any Jehovah's out there? He might shut the fuck up about religion then. All right, Cheeseburger. All our candles are going out, says Matt. He'll be door knocking next, says Jimmy Quinn. What was the next competition we had going on the Facebook group, asked Simon? I can't remember. Well, I suggested beans on toast, but nobody went with it. So we haven't got one going on at the moment. We need to come up with one. And I need to let you all, but let's get through these comments. Right, concerted effort now. I want to eat. I've got a nice supper, and you must, well, apparently you're all bored shitless. Don't freeze your wine. Shit, says Jimmy Quinn. Fucking hell, he's on one, says Jimmy Quinn. I am. Sorry, I can't help myself. Right, yeah, nice one, Black Lines. I disappointed my family, says Julie, including my grandma, when I decided to stop following the Catholic way. I do believe in something, but I can't put my finger on what it is. I want the truth, not escape. Yeah, totally get that, Julie. And thanks for chiming in and also hello to you. Thanks for not shouting at me for banging on. Black Line says, I believe in the notion that energy cannot be created or destroyed. Therefore, when we die, the energy that made us who we are still exists. We're just in a different form. It's comforting. I do go down that road also. Yeah, I do kind of believe that. Well done, Boaty, says Matt. I thought I should give the cat a hug and now she's angry with me. Hang on. I'm off, guys, says Cheeseburger. Enjoy your weekend. I can't deal with the content tonight. Sorry about that, mate. Fucking hell, says Simon. He's about 1 million miles up in the comments. Probably. Sorry, guys. Shison could be a good choice for Sunday because there's not many CVT ones around. Oh, hello. Mustard popped in. Just got finished editing. I've got no idea how far behind I am. Probably an hour. Diddly-do. Does tonight's live stream contain frozen wine? Almost certainly. Yeah, I know Eric has got a sunroof and aircon, Mustard, and I'm very jealous. Fucking hell. My wife got a car tax renewal through today, says Black Lines. 695 quid or 729.75 if paying monthly. Bloody hell. Pure Evil says, as someone with a sunroof but no AC, I think you might have it the right way round. Hang on, hang on. Oh, Mustard is watching some boobies and multitasking, and it looks like people are going to bed, and God knows who could blame them. Oh, okay. Apparently taking a Rover is going to be best, Matt says, for various reasons. So it looks like Shison again. Simon says, I'll come over to your house another day to have a look at the P-scan. Not a problem. And Simon has been a Club SE channel member for 4 months and says, don't freeze your wine. Thank you for 4 months of support, Simon. Thank you very much. Oh, right. Pure Evil is chatting to Underscore. Apparently they met at the Furious Driving Do. No, I wasn't seeing Bernard Manning. Hold on. Let's go through. Loitering is advisable here, says Matt, especially if it says bedtime stories. Now we're chatting about Sunday. That's excellent. I think I've caught up. And everybody's saying good night. So, yeah, and a load of people have buggered off because I've been going off on one and talking about all sorts of other things, but I don't care. I like talking about them, and I'm glad I did. And I'm sorry if it bored you. Okay, right. I'm going to let you all go. What's wrong with the voice on the thing? It's a nice voice. I like it. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Right, let's get the play on face. Okay. Okay, right, it's Thursday night, so in theory, that's it from me until Monday. That's an awfully long time. Sometimes I make it, sometimes I don't. Don't be surprised if I pop up on tomorrow night, or Saturday night, or Sunday night, or even all three. I'm really excited about Monday. There's loads of stuff going on. I'd like to share that with you. So, yeah, I know, the table's still shit. Some of us are here for the rambling. Thank God for that. It's a good job. Yeah, so don't be surprised if I pop up beforehand, but if I don't, I will see you on Monday night, where I suspect oh God above, where I think I might have a lot to talk about, because Monday is going to be a hell of a day. And that hasn't quite defrosted yet. Let's pop that. I'll tell you what, I'll pop it on the fish tank, because the fish tank is warm. I hope you've enjoyed some parts of tonight. I hope you enjoy my new thing. I love it. I love it being up there. I think it looks great. And I'm really grateful to Steve for that. Live stream on Sunday dinner time, says Jimmy Quinn. Well, Sunday I'm at the show, so I might do a live from the show. Let's see what the signal is like. So if you've got bad signal, then the live stream looks really jerky and really pants. But if I keep it still, if I take some tripods with me and keep it still, then yeah, we can get a bit of a live out of there. Obviously, I'll be filming some content. I'm going to, look, one way or the other, you know I'm going to see you before Monday night. It's a given. But let me wish you all a really, really good Friday, a really good weekend. I look forward to seeing some of you on Sunday, which I'm sure Sunday's going to be a great day. I think I settled on sausage and onion chutney sandwiches, didn't I? And I ate the last of the sausages today. So remind me to buy sausages either tomorrow or Saturday. God, I'm running out of steam. thank you for your indulgence. Oh, Joe, sorry, mate. Great live, Boaty. You also made me tear up about pets. Isn't it daft? Isn't it daft? Gets me every time. Whenever I, what is it with animals? Oh, dear me. Dear me. So apologies for that bit of emotion, and there we are. So it's looking like Shison for the win on Sunday. Wetleg can go on the next one. I've kind of got Shison penciled in as my show car, my kind of Nigel, and Wetleg is more of a fun car to just go out whenever the weather is good, with her new leather knob and roof down and all of that. Oh, and thanks to the wonderful Jake, I should be getting Wetleg suspension sorted out very soon. All I've got to do is buy some of the hydrogas fluid when I can. And Jake has got, who lives near Mustard, has got the pump thing and knows how to use it. So we can get Wetleg suspension sorted. And I would love to do that because it might mean that I can film properly in Wetleg, and that would be great. Wetleg is so bouncy and so harsh at the moment that filming, as you know, whenever I've tried, is just like impossible. Stop talking, boy. Psychonaut 7 says take care to you as well. Yeah, take care, all of you. Thank you for this week. Thank you for being with me. Thank you to everybody who's supported in any way. Another massive thank you to Psychonaut 7, who's just done amazing things. I also need to thank Pingu Concord, who has really been helping out. I need to thank good old Captain Mustard tonight again, particularly. And I need to, this won't make sense, but this will be spoken about in future. I need to say a massive thank you to Paul Cooper, my old friend Paul Cooper. I don't even know what his YouTube username is, but he is in the Facebook group. And the reason that Monday is going to be as exciting as it hopefully is in no small part down to him. But there'll be more of that to come. There will be more of that to come. So, yeah, that's it. And this is for Pingu and Simon. This live stream has been unexpectedly busy. Oh fuck, it's gone off now. Stupid thing. Right, that's it. Let's all get out of here. I'll see you all soon. Have a fabulous day tomorrow. Here we go. Unmute. Thank you so much, darlings. Have a safe and peaceful night. Take great care of yourselves. Have a great day tomorrow. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time. All right. Much love to you all. Thanks and good night.